They all have a passion, a determination. So you were hitting on it, that they will drag themselves through anything, basically, because they just have a need to do that. They learn by making mistakes. They mistakes are part of the process. They have a love for ambiguity, not a fear of ambiguity, right? In other words, some people love to go into the unknown. Some people hate the unknown, right? Uh, so it's that constant process that they're pursuing. That act of they can go from the very conceptual to the very granular, right? So that they will be very granular and then come back to the conceptual, and they operate in that way back and forth. What's interesting about your website is that it's the closest to being able to see these things. In other words, okay, so what do they value? You could probably organize it if you say, okay, so now what did they value most? I'll bet you that they valued most the things that we're talking about, right? The things of, in other words, reality, looking at reality, appreciate the beauty of reality, the understanding of reality, a passionate desire to understand how it works, right? The determination, then the shaping, the desire to affect it. Okay, so if you categorized, went through the interviews, tagged them, you probably could say, okay, what did they value? And then how did they go about it? Right? What was necessary? For example, people are running in a group of people. You could distinguish between them. People who are running a group of people, like Steve Jobs was running a group of people. Some people can do it in a lab and not run a group of people. Einstein did not have to run a group of people. Okay? So he would do it his way. But then if you can categorize them. Let's say General Powell. If you take General Powell, he had to run a group of people. Okay, now how did he run a group of people? The people who ran a group of people would not let people stand in the way of their goals. So they were a certain way with people. They would cut through people, meaning recognize people's strengths and weaknesses and deal with those strengths and weaknesses. So unlike a lot of people who may be worried about offending people, they won't let offending people or cutting through it stand in the way of getting to the goal. So Steve Jobs is a great example of that, right? In other words, okay, if you want it, we're talking about what are the elements that are required to achieve a goal. You'd like to have Steve just describe what was required. Okay, if you're running a lot of people and you have to accomplish something, you have to cut through the people to get to the goal. That doesn't mean, now that's not cruel. So he wouldn't view it probably, I can't speak for him, but I wouldn't view that as cruel. I would view that as helpful.